when that happens, that's where I think that whenever all this stuff kind of crashes, it might be if it crashes. I think that's where the real opportunities are when all this stuff kind of pulls back a little bit. But that's cool, man. I think there's so much interest there right now. If you can kind of be a first mover, then that's a good place to be.
I've personally not invested in any crypto at all. I think the way I see it is that it's on the Chicago exchange now, right? It's going to hit another couple of exchanges in the new year. I think NASDAQ will take it on as well, end of January. It's a bubble, right?
Right.
I think Bitcoin is a bubble.
Right.
I think that it will burst.
Right.
And I think when it corrects, I think a lot of the other currencies will correct. And I think that's where the time is to say, right, am I going to invest in a few? I still don't know what Bitcoin is. I think I've spoken to a lot of people. They think they know what it is, but, you know, they don't have a real understanding of it. And I think I can explain stuff like Ripple. Ripple's just like, I understand, like they're looking to replace Swift. Google Ventures, Accenture, they've taken on and they've backed XRP. So it's like worldwide payments within 4 seconds with like 60% of the cost being reduced. I can understand that. It makes sense. It looks viable. It could go big. But Bitcoin, like, no one knows. It's just a mystery. It's mystery world. So I don't think crypto is ever going to go away. I think that we'll see these bubbles, we'll see the crashes, we'll see uprises. But it's so topical. But right, we need to make ourselves relevant.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. I mean, I think that's spot on. Yeah, it's interesting. I have a pretty I have a strong, like, I think actually I look at it. I think that we don't know what the impact that crypto is going to have, and I think that's the thing. Like, we haven't. I think you kind of touched on it. Is that we don't have a great use case yet for the technology. So Silicon Valley, they like and technologists, they'll release technology, and then like the real world will kind of figure out how to practically apply it. And now I think that's where we are, is that the technology is released, and it's kind of like, I use this as an analogy, is that, you know, if you think about the internet, when the internet was first released in 99, like 98, like 90, whatever, like for Internet 1, basically, like, you had to have, like, okay, so now you have all these computers that can connect to each other.
Yeah.
It's still slow. The internet was really slow. Bitcoin is really slow. Crypto is still really slow, right? You can only handle so many transactions.
Yeah,
so fine.
exactly.
You know, like that's fine. But what ended up happening was, like, data came out of mainframes. It came off of paper and went online. And then once the data was online, then you could, like, do something with it. And I think I see the same thing as currency, right? So it's like, you have currency right now is like in dollars, and then like other sources. You need that currency to come, you know, from wherever it's living today into the crypto. And then once it's in the crypto, then what's going to happen is that you have interesting applications of it. But you couldn't have Google until you had enough information online to organize, right?
Exactly.
And I think that that's the practical application of these crypto platforms, technologies. Like, if you listen to like the founder of Ethereum talk, he's talking about a database. He's basically just building out a database to more easily handle transactions. And so that, that's going to come. And so you need to kind of build this foundation. I think, though, that, it's kind of like Linux computers. Like, nobody uses a Linux computer per se. You have like Red Hat, who came along and like made the Linux computer something that like was viable and commercially viable. But then, every single computer that runs on the internet pretty much uses Linux, right? So like every server uses Linux. So like maybe crypto is that, and then like on top of it, there are all these things that come because you don't have all the licensing fees, and Linux was free, right? So you didn't have to pay Microsoft for the operating system. And so I kind of see it the same way, as that like you have this open source system now that's been built, like it's like betting on Linux. It's like buying Linux or buying Red Hat. Red Hat was like one of the first companies to like be a commercially, like they kind of packaged up Linux as an operating system, said, okay, you can use this to run your servers. And then everybody's like, oh, well, I guess we don't have to pay Microsoft anymore to run our servers. I guess we should use this. And that was like, you know, that kind of like reduction in licensing fees on every server, every like, you know, server that you have to buy a OS for. That kind of changes financially the, you know, the fundamentals of it. Changed financially the fundamentals of service. So that's kind of like how I see it. Is like I see it really early technology. I think that it has legs. I think that it will be, you know, you don't think about the technology that runs your servers today, right? You don't say, oh my god, like that website was just loaded with Linux, right? You don't. In fact, you don't know. You don't care. And so I think that's probably where we are with crypto. Is that, you know, the baseline fundamentals are being changed and the technology supported to being changed, but we have no idea what the, you know, what the applications are going to be once like the technology, the fundamental technology is swapped out for the, you know, from the existing banking system. And that's, you know, that's the way I guess. And my buddy, so we've been talking, and like I've just been like, dude, like, okay, so think about your niece, my niece, your nephew. They're 3 and 5 years old. When they're 18, you know, much like the internet, like when you were like, you know, 10, you know, the internet, you have the internet, and like today, like think about how those people are going to use payments or like whatever that means 10 years out, and then you have to work your way back from there, and then choose like your path if you want to, if that's something you want to bet on, But yeah, man, I think it's an interesting opportunity and an inflection point. If you can play in it and take advantage of it, then I think anybody who can definitely should. So
yeah,